good morning, everyone. I'm Robert from Jobs 180, and I will be hosting our program today. Welcome to Jobs 180's Marketing Me Live. We are here specifically for Manuel S. Enverga University Foundation. So, this is in cooperation with the Office of the Vice President for External Relations, Office of Scholarships, Job Placement, and Alumni Relations, and Office of Student Affairs and Services. So usually, ginagawa namin itong marketing me sa inyong school campus. Actually, that's what we plan to do it in your school campus. But of course, given the current situation, we decided to adjust and do it online instead. So to capitalize on the fact na we are doing this online, we decided to invite other companies to share their knowledge sa kanilang area of expertise. Okay, so well, thank you for joining us today. Based on our data, more than 100 yung nag-register. So we are expecting that all of you are here. And sana nga madagdagan pa yung 100. Of course, if meron kayong friends na sabihin natin hindi umabot, you can let them know that they can watch it sa aming FB page. So kung kayo rin, kung gusto nyo i-rewatch, ipopost namin itong recorded video sa aming FB page. So you can go to Facebook, search Jobs 180, or go to www.facebook.com/jobs180. Sige. So quick reminders, we would like to request our viewers to comment their name, course, and the year they graduated or graduating on the comment box. So that, well, we want to get to know the audience better. And you can do this anytime during the program, hindi lang before mag-start. And again, that is your name, course, the year you graduated or graduating if hindi pa kayo mag-graduate. So, by the way, we are also doing another session on August 20. August 20, that's a Thursday. This is open to everyone, not specific to any school. So after joining today, you could also join us on August 20. So that's it for our announcements. And let's move on with the program. But first of all, we would like to invite you to join us for a quick prayer. To formally open our program, I would like to invite Enverga University's very own Vice President for External Relations for his opening remarks. He is a theater director and performer, and he worked for more than 2 decades at the Department of Education. So let's welcome your VP for External Relations, Mr. Celso Haballa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Palomar, for that very charming and generous introduction. Good morning, everyone. So, in behalf of the University President, Madam Naila Enverga Liveriza, and our Chairman of the Board, Wilfrido Lopez Enverga, we welcome you to this online seminar or webinar. As the pandemic forces schools to move education online, it has taught us that the greatest challenge and obligation we face today is to recognize that our students, especially our graduating students, are among the most severe and overlooked victims. I would like to believe that it is the responsibility of the school to be more creative in providing students the best alternative way to cope with the crisis brought about by this global virus so that their path to reach their goal and career in life won't be curtailed and wasted. As what President Leveris has always said, we do not want to fail our students. We at Enverga University, through the Office of the Vice President for External Relations, together with the Office of Scholarships, Job Placement, and Alumni Relations, and the Office of Student Affairs and Services, are very thankful that jobs180.com and one of our strong partners in providing innovative solutions that will enable both schools and students meet the demand and the complex needs in response to the present situation is sponsoring this timely and relevant webinar entitled Telecommuting and Remote Work Expectations and Realities. Truly, shifting to the remote work setup has altered the way we communicate and collaborate. And so, in this virtual seminar, let us focus ourselves to the many significant things that nobody tells us before about telecommuting, truth, and working remotely, and on what and how can we do about it. Let us engage ourselves in this intellectually stimulating topic, envision the modern work in the new normal, and embrace the beauty of this challenging and self-reflecting webinar. Let us contradict the survey that says pandemic is making it harder for the students to graduate, but rather graduating students are smart enough to meet the demands on jobs today amid COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much and God bless.
Thank you, sir. We hope to keep what you said in mind as we move forward. And following that, I would like to go to our topics for today. So, again, sir, thank you very much. We have three topics. We will cover three topics. So, for each topic, meron tayo isang speaker. Our topics are one, resume link, two, virtual interviews, and three, work from home jobs. So each topic, one speaker, and end of each talk, we will have a Q&A portion. So anytime during the talk, pwede kayong mag-comment ng inyong questions. Meron naman tayong team from Jobs 180. They will be monitoring your questions and then relay nila sa akin yung questions para basahin ko at the end so that our speaker can address them. Okay, so para din dun sa mga nakamiss earlier, please comment as well your name, course, and the year you are graduating or graduated. And let us now proceed. I will introduce our first speaker for our first topic. He has 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, business development, customer service, operations, project management, business process, and human resources. As a trusted resource speaker, he has done over 1,000 career development seminars in more than 400 colleges and universities nationwide. I would now like to call the Managing Director of Jobs 180, Mr. Kim Chua, to join us and talk about the use of the resume link.
Hi, Sir
Hello,
Robert.
good morning, Sir Kim. Yes,
Good
so,
morning, Sir Robert.
good morning, and I will be going backstage shortly after this. And again, at the end of your talk, we will have a Q&A, and you can address them later afterwards.
Okay,
Okay,
let me
so
go and share my screen now. Thank you for the introduction. And it's good to be back here in Enverga. I miss going that 4 or 5 hour drive down south, and wala tayong magagawa ngayon, mga kaibigan. So we have no choice but to do this at home. Still deliver the same essential messages that would help you and equip you for your mga job exploration. Okay, So, if I may start, tama po narinig nyo, mga friends. Hindi nagkakamali, no? Kim Chua talaga yan. Kasi lagi ako nagbibiro, baka Kim Chu lang ang naalala nyo, no? Sa may wa talaga parati. Kim Chua. Okay, so today, I will be sharing with you how do you market yourself more effectively to those companies that you'll be looking for. And for you to do that, I'll give you a quick guide. This is basically a guide on how to use or what to use, no, in terms of yung tool nyo, so that you know kung tama ba yung ginagamit yung tool. Okay, so I'll show you a quick guide later on, ano yung mga tips on like a checklist on a guide on how to market yourself more effectively. Okay, so let me start. No, these are questions that I usually ask the audience. Kayong mga students na nakikinig ngayon or yung mga audience na nagtatrabaho na, when you apply to those companies, I'm sure you want to stand out. And this is one of the basic thing, no? Sa dami naman nag-apply, you need to be able to stand out. Okay? Now, another thing to put in the checklist is that hindi marami dapat yung ating mga information na kalat-kalat. All of this information should be in one file. And this is another of my checklist. Okay? So you need to have all this information in one file lang para easy for reference. Lahat nandoon na. Okay? Another thing to consider is that you
Hello,
also
Sir
need
Kim.
to
Hello. Sir, sorry to butt in, but I think your screen is not flashed right now. Maybe you could double check your screen share.
sandali
Yes, sir. We will give you time to figure out how to share your screen. In the meantime, while Sir Kim is trying to share his screen, a reminder to everyone, we have another talk on August 20. So we have different topics on August 20 from the one we will have today. So please join us. Sir Kim, okay? You okay? Ready to share?
I think okay na to. Sorry. I got so excited. I skipped the part of sharing my screen. Sabi ko nga sa inyo mga Envergans, na miss ko mag-travel dyan. No? Pag pumupunta dyan, masaya yung mga sightseeing natin along the way. Okay, so now that I've shared the screen, ayan, okay, I know it's working now. You can see it in your phone or in your gadget. So I will be sharing with you, parang silang plaka lang ako for a few seconds. I wanted to share with you for this morning session how to market yourself more effectively. And for you to do that, I'll give you a quick guide. Okay, ito yung mga checklist on what type of tool you should be using. And this is how you will be able to market yourself more effectively. Okay? So this is the right tool right now to consider. It's the ResumeLink. Bakit? These are the questions that you want to answer. And when you answer these questions, lahat ng mga kasagutan nandoon kay ResumeLink. Let me start with the first question. When you apply, definitely you want to stand out. Sa dami naman nag-a-apply ngayon ng mga aplikante, whether may experience ka na or wala, definitely you want to stand out among all the other applicants. Okay? The next question in the checklist is that, are you keeping a lot of files? Marami kang mga files, no? May personal data ka dyan, may mga references ka, may mga portfolio ka. All this information, kalat-kalat ba sila? Iba-iba ba yung mga files? Ideally, put them in one file. And that is another thing in that checklist. Okay? Another thing to consider, when you apply, ano gusto nyo nangyari? Matagal ba yung proseso? Or do you want that process to be shortened? Siyempre, gusto natin mas maiksi yung pag-a-apply. And this is also why we recommend using the ResumeLink. Okay? Number 4, in the checklist, you want to save. Hanggat maaari, you don't want to keep on spending a lot of money, especially for printing or for keeping your information. So, ang ResumeLink will address that concern as well. And the last and most important, I think, consideration right now is the security of information. Alam nyo ba, yung mga batas ngayon about data privacy, kung hindi pa kayo aware, meron po tayo tinatawag na Data Privacy Act. And this ResumeLink is aligned with flying colors. Pasado yan dito sa data privacy natin. Okay? And this will ensure you, yung information nyo, secured na secured. Okay? So let me go now to my reminder. Like ko sinasabi, those people who wants to start, you have to start to plan. And when you fail to plan, it's like you're planning to fail. Diba? Yan yung kasabihan nila. So you have to start with the right tool. And this tool is called the ResumeLink. So what is the ResumeLink? The ResumeLink is basically a personalized URL. It's a link that anyone can open online anytime. Okay? So ano example ng ResumeLink? Halimbawa, pangalan mo, John Santos. Ang link mo pwede maging johnsantos.com schools.jobs180.com. Ganun lang kasimple. Yan na ang resume link mo. How do you make one? 3 simple steps lang po ito. The first step is for you to register. How do you register? You go to this link. If you have your phones with you or gadget with you, I recommend you take a screenshot kasi medyo mahaba-haba ito para i-memorize. Okay? Pero mabilis na din tandaan. Go to your school site, which is schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF. Bakit MSEUF? Yan po ang alma mater nyo. Yan po ang school nyo. Manuel S. Enverga University Foundation. Okay, ulitin ko lang. Ito po yung link, schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF. Okay? Now, as you go to this link, you can click on register. Pwede kayo gumawa ng account doon. Kung nakalimutan mo yung link dahil sobrang haba, okay, o hindi mo napicturan, pwede kayo pumunta sa website ng jobs180.com. Okay, dali, excuse lang ha. Sorry. You can go to this website, www.jobs180.com, and that's where you now register. As you register, you choose your school, and you put those basic information there. Information na hindi ko lang kailangan isa-isahin. Makikita nyo naman doon mga account details, personal information, education background nyo, pati ang mga work experiences nyo. We put it there. Now, in terms of creating your resume link, you start by making your unique name or basing it on your unique name. What is a unique name? Yung pangalan nyo po is a unique name. Whatever your name is, it will be a unique name. Example, pangalan mo, John Santos. May naunahan na ibang tao, pangalan John Santos din mag-register. Ano pwede mo gawin? You can reverse it. You can use your surname first by making it like this. santosjohn.jobs180.com. Pwede mo rin ito gawin Santos J o kaya J Santos. Diba? Depende sa anong gusto nyo gawin. Basta importante po, maayos ang inyong resume link. Huwag kayong gumawa ng resume link na ganito yung mga itsura. Example, nakalagay, I am sexy and hot.jobs180.com. Hindi naman po yan maganda tignan. Imagine when you apply to those companies, when you submit your resume, ano sasabihin nung HR sa inyo? Ma'am, do you have a resume? Or sir, do you have a resume? Ano sasagutin mo? Meron po. Ang resume ko po ay eldiablo.jobs180.com. Diba? Baka matakot yung HR. So do not create something like that. Okay? I recommend stick to your name. Next, when you register, please use a valid email. Ano yung mga valid email? Ito yung mga email na nabubuksan ninyo kagaya ng Gmail or ng mga Yahoo. Emails that you can open. Remember, never use @facebook.com na email to register. Example, huwag kang gagamit ng michael@facebook.com na email to register. Huwag kang gagamit ng jennifer@facebook.com na email to register. Because if you use that kind of email, you will no longer be able to receive notifications being sent to you by the companies as well as jobs180.com. Okay? Now, you open your email. Para matapos ka sa first step, you have to open the email. When you open the email, you have to click on verify. Okay? The verify button, verify now. And it is a proof na ikaw ang nag-register. Tapos ka na sa first step after you do this. Okay? Now, once you're done with the first step, syempre, proceed tayo sa second step. Ganoon lang naman yan, di ba? 1, 2, 3. So, 2 na tayo ngayon. Step 2. Step 2 is to complete the information. This is the most logical of all the steps. Pinaka-logical. Why? I ask you now, meron ba sa inyo magsasubmit sa mga kumpanya, bungi-bungi information? Meron ba sa inyo mag-apply sa mga company, kulang-kulang detalye? Sa tingin ko, di nyo gagawin yan because you will not waste your time and the time of the HR. Diba? Most of all, hindi nyo papahiin ang school nyo. Diba? Because when you submit your resume, bit-bit mo palagi ang alma mater nyo, which is Enverga University. So you have to complete those information. And how do you do that? Punta ka ulit doon sa link na sinabi ko kanina. Kung hindi mo na-mention, hindi mo pala na-capture, na-mention ko ulit, picturean nyo na lang ulit, schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF. And this is where you now log in. Okay? Now, as you log in, pwede ka rin mag-log in sa Jobs180 if you want to. Either way, you go to your account. As you log in, you put your login ID and password na kayo lang may alam. And once you're inside your account, you start to put those information in. Ito na yung mga kailangan mo kumpletuhin. Okay? I-remind ko lang sa inyo, yung mga information na nakita nyo dito, ito yung mga tinitignan ng isang resume. So please make sure you have to put all those information correctly. Okay? Huwag mag-invento ng mga details. Okay? What do you put here? You start with your contact information. Lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak ng HR, ilagay mo dito. Okay? Hindi lang cellphone, hindi lang email, pati mga social media account ilagay nyo. Bakit? Sa panahon ngayon, I think social media is one of the fastest way for anyone to communicate with you, like specifically HR people. They can send you a private message through your Facebook or through your Twitter. Mas mabilis kayo makakapag-coordinate at makapag-schedule. Diba? Next. Sa work options naman, as you can see on the screen, pwede ka mamili ng mga different type of work options. And there are 4 options here that are ready to be matched. Ano itong mga to? Nakalagay dyan, willing to work night shift, willing to relocate, looking for OJT, in case you are looking for OJT. Pwede rin po dyan, willing to work overseas. So what you need to do lang is just say yes or no, parang pili ka lang ng switch dyan, yes or no, and the system will try to match you with companies who are also looking for the same profile with what you have. Okay? Now, in this portion, you put all the work experiences that you've had. OJT, kung meron na kayo OJT, put it there, summer job, part-time job, diba? Or any other job na naging trabaho, naging totoong trabaho nyo, put it here. Okay? Huwag mag-invento. Next, we go to your education. You put here yung mga schools na na-attendan nyo. Kung meron kayo ibang school other than Enverga University, you can also put it here. Wala naman itong limit sa space. Sa seminars attended, ganun din. Pampakapal pa nga yan, pampahaba ng resume usually. Sorry. So this is where you now put your seminars o yung mga na-attendan yung mga seminars. Okay? Certification, ganun din. You put in yung mga certification programs na meron kayo. Okay? Na natapos ninyo. When it comes to achievement, do not limit your achievement only inside the school. A lot of you now listening are thinking, hindi naman ako Dean's Lister, hindi naman ako cum laude, ano lalagay ko dyan sa achievement? Okay? Lahat ng achievement, sa tingin yung achievement nyo, you put it here, even if it is outside of the school. Okay? Lahat ng mga activities na ginawa nyo, na tingin mo is an achievement, you put it here. Okay? So don't limit it lang inside the school. Next, when it comes to skills and languages, isa-isahin ko lang sa skills, ganun din. Huwag mong ilimit yung skills dyan lang sa course nyo. Hindi pagkat engineering ka, ang alam mo lang skills pang engineering. Hindi pagkat IT ka, ang alam mo lang mga skills pang IT. Diba? Baka iba sa inyo, meron kayong mga ibang mga skills na alam, kagaya ng mga photography, diba? Meron kayong mag-graphic design, meron kayong mag-setup ng mga computers, or meron kayo mag-setup ng sasakyan. Diba? So, lahat ng mga yan, skills na yan, you put it here. Same goes with languages. In terms of the languages naman, do not limit your languages lang sa English at Filipino or Tagalog. Baka yung iba sa inyo, marunong mag-local dialect. Sa Bacano, Bisaya, Ilonggo, Kapampangan, lahat yan lagay mo dyan. Even foreign languages, Chinese, Japanese, French, Vietnamese, lahat ng mga iba-ibang klaseng languages, you put it here. You never know. Those companies, might be looking for those kinds of skills and languages as well. Okay? Pagdating naman sa references, isa lang masasabi ko. Yung mga references, kilala nyo. Kaya nyo nga sila nilalagay, di ba? Ang tanong dito, kayo ba kilala nila? Sana, oo. So please remind them na ginawa silang reference para at least pag tinawagan sila ng mga companies, they know what to tell about you. Okay? So at this point, I think alam niyo yung mga pinagsasabi ko. All those things are just, recap lang naman of the information that you need to put inside your resume link. Kung meron ka na nagawang resume sa inyong Word file or document file nyo, sa doc file nyo, it's easier for you. What you need to do, transfer na lang all those information inside the resume link para maging secured siya. Okay? Now, let's continue to the next portion. Itong susunod na papakita ko, wala ito sa mga traditional na resumes. Ito yung mga amazing na portion. Let me start with the portfolio section. Ano itong portfolio section? Dito mo nalagay ngayon yung mga ebidensya ng skills nyo. Example, ano ebidensya na graduate na kayo? Diploma, transcript, certificate. Diba? Ano ebidensya na pwede ka pumunta sa ibang bansa? Passport, visa. Ano ebidensya na wala kang criminal record? NBI clearance, police clearance. Ano ebidensya na wala kang sakit? Medical clearance. Lahat ng yan, evidence of your skills or evidence of what you are trying to position to that company. So I recommend you put all those documents here. It will be easier for the HR to evaluate you. Diba? At hindi ka na mahirapan maghanap-hanap o magtago-tago ng mga files sa iba-iba mga documents, sa iba-ibang mga files. Okay? Isa sa mga uso ngayon, itong tinatawag nating selfie video. I recommend you create a selfie video. What is a selfie video? Selfie video need not to be very long. Okay? As you can see on the screen, I'm playing a sample of a selfie video. You get your smartphone, record a selfie video, you say something interesting about yourself. If you don't like it, you delete. If you like it, you save it. And after you save it, what do? You upload it in YouTube, in Vimeo, and there's a lot of mga video channels you can upload it to. And once you're done, you now put it there sa portfolio section. Yung tip ko lang dito sa selfie video, ang ilagay nyo dito, basic things to describe about you, things to answer questions like, why should the company consider you? Diba? Or what can you offer to the company? Okay? Put it lang in a small time frame, mga 30 seconds lang at the most 1 minute. Huwag mo nang masyadong pahabain pa. Okay? Some of you are asking, do I have to speak in English? Hindi naman po required mag-speak ng English sa pag-a-apply. But I recommend, of course, if you can speak in fluent English, better. If not, then kung saan ka komportabling lengguwahe, yun ang gamitin natin. Ang importante dito, makikita ng HR kung paano mo pinipresent ang sarili mo to that company. Ayos? Let me continue. Profile picture. Yan, mahilig tayo sa mga picture-picturean ngayon, di ba? Sa mga profile picture, pwede mo rin ilagay yung profile picture nyo sa resume link. And I recommend you do something like this. Yung hindi na kailangan masyadong mga pumunta pa sa studio, gumastos pa. Wag na. Ang isa sa mga reminder ko, wag kayong gagawa ng mga profile picture na ganyan ang itsura. Yung mga may photo bomber, di ba? Yung may mga gulo-gulo background, yung mga masyadong mga ginagawa niyong kengkoy, hindi po yan maganda tignan. It doesn't have a good reflection, no, in terms of being professional sa pag-apply. Okay? So keep it simple, plain background, look at the camera, even if it's a selfie picture, pwede rin naman, basta lang importante nakatingin kayo sa camera, malinis po ang profile picture. Okay? Ano pang maganda sa resume link? Ang maganda dito, meron tayong tinatawag na cover photo. Cover photos allow you to express yourself better. Yan yung kagandahan. Because hindi lahat ng nakikinig ngayon ay gifted with writing skills. A lot of us, pasintabi sa matatamaan may iba sa atin dito, marami sa atin, hirap na hirap i-express ang gusto mo sabihin into words. Hindi mo siya ma-type, hindi mo siya maisulat. Kasi hindi tayo naturally gifted with words. Pero pagdating sa picture, you're able to show yourself more effectively to that person or to the HR. So these are some examples that you can do. Okay? Look at the examples here on the left. This is someone from ophthalmologist, di ba? Isa siyang ophthalmologist. On the right side naman of the screen, you can see someone who can do multitasking, di ba? Depende yan kung paano mo ipapakita ang sarili mo. Okay, another example here is someone from the guidance or maybe from psychology, di ba? Or someone who has a creative mind. Depende yan kung paano mo ngayon i-express ang sarili mo. Another very good example is this one. Itong taong to, hindi po ito akyat bahay gang, okay? Hindi rin po ito social climber, sabi ng iba. This is a very good example of how she was able to express that there is no shortcut to success. You have to reach your goal by taking one step at a time. So what I showed you, those are good examples. Okay? Ito naman, syempre, kung may good example, meron tayong mga not good examples. Okay? Ano yung mga not so good example? Ito yung mga sample na huwag niyong gagayahin. Una-una sa lahat, huwag kayong magpapaka-misteryoso. Okay? Make sure you put your picture there. Hindi yung picture na may putol yung ulo or picture na malabo or definitely walang picture. Okay? Because if there's nothing there, I don't think you will stand out. Dito pa lang sa cover photo, hindi mo na mahuli attention ng HR. What more do you expect for the HR to do? They will not be looking at those information anymore. Kasi sa simula pa lang, hindi mo na nahuli attention. Okay? At kung gusto mo na mahuli attention, wag naman sana ganito. Never do something like this as well. Kasi ang dating nito parang emo, para ba tayong tamad, or parang happy-go-lucky. Or at least this is, for my opinion lang this is not a very good example. So I don't recommend you do something like this when you do your cover photo. Okay? Now, let's examine this resume link. Ito yung magandang example. Kompleto detalye na. May cover photo, may profile picture, all the information are in that resume link. You see, may mga work experience, may siyang personal information, education background, even skills, achievements, pati portfolio nilagay pa niya. Hindi pa siya nagtatapos, inattach pa niya yung mga document na nagpapatunay na itong taong to ay isang licensed ophthalmologist. This will make your life and the life of the HR way more efficient. Bakit very efficient? Because you don't have to go back and forth. Napabawasan na yung magsisend ka pa ng mga follow-up document na kailangan nila. Gawin mo ngayon, submit mo na lahat para pag tinawagan ka ng HR, at least alam mo na, pasok ka na sa first step of evaluation. You now go to the second step na. Possibly, interview na yan or possible, job offer na. Di ba? Napapabilis yung buhay. Okay? Now, a lot of you are now concerned with your security. Ito nga yung marati ko sinasabi. Marami sa nakikinig ngayon, di ba? Marami sa nakikinig ngayon, lagi sinasabi, how secured is the information? Ito na po ang pinaka-secured na tool right now. Bakit ko sinabing pinaka-secured na tool? You have the ultimate control over your information. Kayo po, kayong mga user, ang may ultimate control. As you can see on the screen, when you log in to your account, ang pwede mong gawin ngayon, piliin mo doon sa privacy settings mo, anong information lang ang gusto mo ilabas sa public. Halimbawa, ayaw mo pakita ang birthday mo. What do? You turn it off. You don't want to show your references. What do? You turn it off. You don't want to show your address. What do? You turn it off. So lahat na naka-off, hindi siya lalabas sa public. Di ba? Ayos? Kayo may control niyan. At isa pang maganda is, maliban sa kayo may control ng information nyo, real-time update pa to. Ibig sabihin ng real-time update is, if yesterday you chose to disclose all this information and today you decided to close or hide some of them, real-time update. Immediately, lahat ng mga resume links na nabigyan nyo, real-time update. Kung ano yung ginawa nyong settings, yun yung susunod. Okay? So, reminder lang po, when you create your content, diba, yun ang pinaka-importante, when you create your content, the information has to be complete. You have to make it interesting and attractive for the HR so they'll be able to look into more of your information. Okay? Put those information na significant to the position that you're applying to para mas malaki yung chance na kayo ang makonsider. And most of all, those information has to be updated. Kasi kung hindi siya updated, edi anong sense kung hindi mo na-update ng information mo? Diba? Dapat update natin yung details natin. Okay? Now, let's go to the last step. How can you use the resume link? O, diba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung mga checklist natin. Pabalikan natin mamaya yan. So, let's now go to the last step. Ano yung first step? Recap lang. Register. Wala tong bayad. Libre. Second step, complete the information. Pinaka-logical. The last step now is for you to submit. So, how will you submit your information? You have several options. And I will show you ano to mga options na to. Okay? First option is for you to go to your school site. The one I showed you earlier. Kung hindi mo ito na-picturean kanina, picturean mo na ngayon kasi ito na po yung last chance na papakita ko ngayon sa presentation ko itong link nyo. Okay? schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF. From here, you'll be able to see companies, industry partners of your school. Okay? Mamaya, makikita nyo po, magtotalk si ADP, magtotalk din po si Accenture. So, these are some of your school's industry partners. Okay? So, ito yung mga trusted nilang mga companies. Kaya, recommend ko, go to that page, this page I showed you, schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF, and explore the companies there. Okay? Kung sakaling nabitin ka, pagpitingin mo doon sa mga page na yan, sa mga companies, you can also explore the ongoing virtual career fair that's happening sa jobs180.com. Punta ka lang sa website ng www.jobs180.com at doon ka magtingin ng mga companies. Marami-raming companies right now ang hiring. Okay? Kahit na may pandemic po, there are so many other companies who are offering opportunities for you to explore. What you need to do lang is make sure that you have your resume link complete, yung resume link nyo complete and maayos, and then you now start exploring for companies and you start looking for those opportunities. At pag-type mo yung kumpanya, anong gagawin natin? Submit mo lang ang resume link mo. Ganun kasimple. You don't have to worry about going or traveling to that company anymore. Okay? Next, some of you are thinking, Sir, pwede ko ba i-email yung company? Pwede. But this time, when you email the company, huwag ka na mag-email na mayroon pang mga attachment. Look at the example I'm showing you. Ano nakalagay dyan? Dear HR Manager, my name is, example lang, Kim Chua, and I would like to apply in your company. Here is my resume. What do you usually do? You usually attach your PDF file or your Word file or ibang mga files na i-attach nyo. I do not recommend that anymore. Ang recommend ko ngayon is write the same email, but this time, instead of attaching your document, i-type mo na lang doon yung resume link mo. Example, Dear HR Manager, my name is Kim Chua, and I would like to apply in your company. This is my resume, kimchua.jobs180.com. I'm looking forward to hear from you. Send. Tapos na. Wala nang kahirap-hirap. Wala nang mga attachment, di ba? Bakit? Let's be practical. Paano kung nagpalit ka ng information? Di ba kailangan sabihan mo yung HR? Ano gagawin mo? Email ka ulit. Hindi ba nakapagod yun? Every time may babaguhin ka, kailangan mo sabihan yung HR na meron kang bagong information or in-update mo information mo. So you don't need to do that. Hindi lang may ikaw napapagod eh. Yung HR din napapagod, mag-keep track, alin doon yung pinaka-updated na information. This time, no need to worry. Just update everything inside the resume link at lahat na nabigyan mo ng resume link, updated na rin sila real time. Okay? Next option. For those people who want to have a printed copy, just in case lang, gusto mo talaga may perang hahawakan kang mga papel sa pag-a-apply. Yung gusto mo yung paper resume. Yan ang magandang balita ko sa inyo. Pwede mo na i-print ang resume link. Ano gagawin nyo? Pupunta ka lang sa dashboard, sa account nyo, and then you now choose the print button, and you now print your resume link. It will come out as one page. matipid, di ba? One page na lang ang resume natin. Hindi na kailangan marami pang mga information. The system will try to compress everything into one page. Ayos ba? O, sige. I'll show you another option para sa printing. Pag gusto mo makatipid sa pagpiprint, huwag ka na mag-print na malalaking papel or malalaking mga resumes nyo. Ang gawin mo ngayon, mag-print ka na tinatawag nating ResumeLink card. What I'm showing you sa screen, that is a sample of a ResumeLink card. It makes your life so much more efficient. Hindi lang siya efficient sa pagdating sa cost, efficient pa siya pagdating sa data privacy. Bakit? Imagine, when you go to the company and you applied using your big traditional paper resume, pag submit mo ng resume doon sa kumpanya, biglang nalipad ng hangin. May nakita ng papel na yon. Lahat na nakita ng papel na yon, alam na buong information mo. Yan ba ang gusto mo mangyari? Siguro naman hindi. If you care about your privacy, then you don't do that. What I recommend, you just print a small piece of paper, okay? Write your resume link there or print it out, yung resume link nyo, and that is what you give now to the companies. Para kung sakali lang nilipad ng hangin yon, kung sino man makapulot nung papel na yan, walang problema. Kontrolado mo naman ang privacy settings nyo. Di ba? Ayos. Sige, ito pa. You use your gadget. Sa panahon ngayon, most of the applicants, they have their smartphones. I'm not saying all of you. Some of you, or most of you, you have your gadget. What do you do? Take advantage na of the technology. Gamitin ng technology na. Okay? Use that device, use your smartphone, laptop, or ano mga gadget nyo, tablet, use it to apply for companies. Okay? And make yourself productive at home. Now, later on, pag bumalik na tayo sa ating old normal at pwede tayo pumunta sa mga kumpanya, pwede ka na rin hindi magbitbit ng kahit na anong anything. As in, kahit na anong anything, wala. You don't have to bring anything. When you go to the company, you just write down your resume link sa mga registration form nila and they'll be able to open it anytime. Basta alam nila ang resume link niya. Okay? So with that, let me share yung checklist. Okay? I will summarize the things that I shared to you in these 4 checklists. Diba? Nag-promise ako sa inyo, bibigyan ko ng guideline. So ito yung 4 na guideline na huwag nyong kakalimutan. Every time mag-a-apply kayo, use these 4 items. Okay? To check kung yung ginagamit mo bang resume, tama ba ito or hindi. Let's start with the first one. Ito yung pinaka-importante sa lahat. Is your information secured? Definitely yes. With the privacy settings, here in ResumeLink, you control everything. Kayo ang may control real-time. Alin dun yung ipapakita mo sa public at itatago mo sa public. Okay? Speed of hire, faster. Bakit? Hindi na kailangan magpabalik-balik. Okay? Everything is inside that ResumeLink. And when you apply online, easy rin. You don't need to travel. You don't need to worry about going to those companies. Pangatlo, flexible ba ito? Definitely yes. Okay? Ba't ko sinabi yes? If you're using other job platform, okay, I don't have to name these companies. Alam mo naman ano yung mga ibang mga job platform. If you're using all those other job platform, you are limited to using their resume format. Here in Jobs 180, we also ask you to create a profile, which is your resume link. Pero hindi ka limited dito lang sa Jobs 180. You can use that resume link to apply to other companies using email, using SMS, using text, using lahat, using messenger, lahat ng pwedeng paraan pwede. At higit sa lahat, tipid. Tipid na tipid. Bakit? Hindi mo kailangan mag-print ng print na maraming papel. Hindi mo kailangan maggastos na maraming pamasahe at effort. Yung mga document mo, hindi mo kailangan i-reproduce. Yung mga NBI clearance mo, diba? No need to reproduce a lot of those documents. What you need to do na lang, just keep it inside your resume link. And that will be your reference na. Ayos? So with that, additional benefits na lang. You can share this to any platform. You don't need to worry about saving it sa USB or hard drive nyo. Baka mawala pa yan. Diba? Problema ka pa kung saan napunta yung USB mo or makurap yung USB mo. And you don't need to worry about yung mga compatibility ng mga version sa MS Word o sa kung saan man. Because these are all compatible na inside the resume. Okay? Ang magandang balita po sa mga Envergans, hindi po kayo nag-iisa. Okay? Right now, we have 400 colleges and university partners nationwide. And these schools, partners that we have, they're all using the resume link. And because of that, kayo po ay required gumawa ng resume link. Pinapaalala ko lang, as instructed by Sir Celso and Miss Mabel, I am to remind you that Envergans, you are required to make a resume link. Okay? Required because They will be checking it as part of your clearance. Okay? Ako yung napag-utusan lamang, tagapagbalita lang sa inyo nitong reminder na to. Okay? So, some of the frequently asked questions. Ito yung mga tinatanong parati ng mga estudyante sa akin. Tatanungin nila, Sir, pwede ko ba gamitin yung ResumeLink kung mag-apply ako sa mga companies na hindi naman kilala yung jobs180.com? Ang sagot, yes. Basta alam nila yung ResumeLink mo. Ibig sabihin, you are the one who gave it to them or you are the one who authorized that ResumeLink to be checked by the companies. Okay? Second question, is it the same as other job site like LinkedIn, JobStreet, or any other job site? The answer is no. As I mentioned earlier, may dalawang pagkakaiba, yung security ng information at yung flexibility. Okay? Can you keep the information secured? Definitely yes. You can keep your information secured because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings. How often ba dapat ina-update ng ResumeLink? Ang mare-recommend ko lang po, update nyo siya every time na meron kayong changes sa information nyo. Lalo na po yung contact details. Because yan ang pinaka-importanting information right now for the HR to get in touch with you. Okay? And the last question is just a trivia lang. Ba't siya tinawag na jobs180.com? Kaya siya tinawag na jobs180 because we want to turn your life around 180 degrees. Not 360 because you only go back to where you started. Okay? Kung may tanong pa kayo, baka lang nahiya kayo magtanong, just post it on our chat group right now. Babasahin po ni Sir Robert later. Kung nahiya kayo magtanong, go to our website, email us or email me here sa info@jobs180.com. You can like us on Facebook to get some updates. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Lahat po yan. Okay? Again, my name is Kim Chua. Huwag kalimutan yung baka Kim Chua lang ang maalala. Isang magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, mga Envergans. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for your talk, Sir Kim. As usual, excited ako para sa ating viewers na gamitin na nila ang kanilang resume link to apply to partner companies, including yung mga company na magbibigay ng talk later. Yan, pwede kayo mag-apply dyan. And I would like to remind dun sa gagawa ng kanilang resume link, paki-verify. And also doon sa nakagawa na before, make sure na na-verify nyo na siya. All you need to do is go to jobs180.com to start making your resume link. So, Sir Kim, hello, sir.
Yes.
So, you answered frequently asked questions. We have here a question that was not addressed. Di siya FAQ. There's a question here. Is there such a thing as swerte or luck sa pag-a-apply sa trabaho? Again, swerte or luck when it comes sa pag-apply sa trabaho.
Okay. This comes if I'm going to tell you na kahit dami mong swerte, kung you will not take your action, you will not find a job. Will you believe me? Let me rephrase that. Kahit saan katutak na swerte ang meron ka, if you are not going to take an action, okay, lahat ng job offer na sa harapan mo na, lahat ng posibilidad ng trabaho na sa harapan mo na, all the things that you need, your tools, your gadget, everything is there. In fact, yung company na kumakatok na sa pintuan mo, if you're not going to take that action, nothing will happen. So, yes, there could be a factor called swerte, yes, especially if you pray for it, no? If you ask for the Lord's blessing na i-guide ka sa tamang paraan, sa tamang path mo, sa tamang direction mo sa pag-apply ng trabaho, definitely yes, there is that the thing that we call the God's blessing or we say swerte. But if you will not take that action, nothing will happen. So it has to be both, okay? You have to take that action and it has to also be a blessing from the Lord para dire-diretso ang inyong direction papunta sa career goals. That's my answer for you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Sir Kim. So there is luck, but there is also action. Action is needed from our applicants, from our viewers. So please keep that in mind. And sorry, Sir Kim, we only had time for one question.
Okay.
We are now moving on to our second speaker. Thank you very much for your talk.
And thank you. If they have
And
questions, they just send it na lang dun sa email or sa Facebook na ng Jobs180.
okay, thank you, sir. So I hope Sir Kim was able to answer yung concerns, even yung hindi ko natanong dun sa pag-answer niya ng FAQs. So we can now move on. But again, before, Before we move on, please comment your name, course, year you graduated or graduating. And also, since nakita ko from the comments from different schools, paki-comment na rin ang inyong school. So thank you for those na dropped by, even from other schools. And I was actually looking at the comments before. I think minimum 50 na yung nag-comment ng kanilang name. So thank you very much. Dun sa mga hindi pa nag-comment, please do so. And let us now move on to our second talk. So to introduce our second speaker is from ADP Philippines. She has been in the BPO industry since 2007, the former member of the academe, and has been part of HR training and operations upon joining the corporate industry. With ADP, she has handled niche and volume hiring and is currently also one of the tasks to management the hiring platform for Philippine talent acquisition. So to talk about virtual interviews, may I call Miss Teresa Carla or Potch Tort. Hello, Miss. Hello, ma'am. There you are. So, hello, ma'am. I think you are on mute. May we
Oh,
ask to? There
sorry.
you go. There.
Robert, can you hear
Okay,
me
so
well?
yes, we are hearing you well. So,
Hi, good
may we
morning.
may we test your screen share first before we continue?
All right. Well, I greeted you good morning.
Good
So
morning,
good
sir.
morning to you, Robert,
Good
before I
morning.
share my
Yes,
screen. All right, so
yes.
shall I
Yes.
just begin right away?
Well, let's check first before I leave for to go to backstage. I have to make sure first na okay ang ating screen. And
Alrighty,
then
no
after that,
worries.
same as before, I will be backstage and will be coming back for the Q&A portion.
All right, let me just share my screen very quickly. There you go. Okay. Oops. There. Are you able
Okay,
to see it?
so yes, we can see it and we can hear you fine. So again, I will be going backstage and only coming back for the Q&A. Thank
All
you.
right. Cool. Thanks, Robert. All right, so guys, good morning. My name is Potch. I'm from ADP Philippines, and I am here to discuss virtual interviews, opportunities, expectations, and requirements. So, good morning, Envergans. I hope you are doing well this fine Thursday morning. So, before I proceed with discussing virtual interviews, let me just give you a very quick overview of what is ADP, just for familiarity, because some of you may be familiar with us already, others might not. So, best to be able to give you a very brief backgrounder. So ADP Philippines is an in-house KPO handling HR, payroll administration, primarily for North American clients. 70 years of age globally, ADP started in the Philippines in 2012 and is one of the most admired companies, rating highly both in employee and client satisfaction. Presently, we have more than 5,000 employees, and our employees continue to work from home to provide continued services in this time of the global pandemic. So, some may be wondering, so Ms. Potch, there's the term there, KPO. What exactly is KPO? KPO stands for Knowledge Process Outsourcing. It's quite similar to BPO, Business Process Outsourcing, or what everyone calls as call centers, right? Nowadays, everyone or a lot of us work in call centers, and impression wise, some people find it good, some people find it bad, to each his own, right? But in essence, ADP Philippines still falls under the BPO industry, but does handle a specific area or a niche area of specialization. In this case, that's HR and payroll administration. We do our site is in Makati, but as mentioned, currently, majority of us are working from home, providing payroll solutions for our clients. And that's where we come in. As HR representatives of ADP Philippines, we, myself included, as recruiters, are tasked to hire for ADP Philippines operations And the people that we hire are the ones who do client support, not specifically just customer support, but these analysts, as we'd like to call them, they deal with managers, they deal with business owners. They don't just deal with what we call regular customers, but they deal specific to clients and businesses. So it's a little bit different in terms of the approach that's expected from them when they work for ADP, but still similar. You still deal with people from other geographies. You still deal with service oriented questions. But again, since it's KPO, it's very much specific to HR and payroll administration. Okay, so I hope that gives you at least a bit of an idea of what we do at ADP. So let's proceed with the topic that was assigned to me, which is virtual interviews. Primarily for virtual interviews, not this was not that common in a previous lifetime. And when I say previous lifetime, before quarantine, most, if not all, of our interviews are done face to face because, as we all know, face to face interviews allows for in better interaction, right? And it lets the recruiter get a better sense of the candidate, and it allows the candidate to present themselves better to the recruiter. But what are the reasons for employing virtual interviews? Previously, since it's rarely done, it's usually conducted if the final interviewer is in another geography separate from the Philippines. So, a virtual interview is done in cases like that, or in extreme cases wherein it's the candidate himself or herself that's in a different geography. So, in cases like that, normally it's either via phone or via computer, video call, or I forget the term, but teleconference. There you go. Teleconference was also a method used back then. But at present, specifically beginning March 17 of this year, for our team, for ADP Philippines Talent Acquisition, we have created the virtual interview process for our team because that evidently there's no way to travel, there's no way to go to the site for both the candidate and the recruiter. So the virtual interview process is the safer way to do things. So virtual interviewing in the time of community quarantine. Why virtual? Pros and cons. Let's talk about it. Pros, number one, convenience, right? As mentioned, there's no way to get to the office. Our office is located in Makati, specifically in Glorieta. In another lifetime, it's very convenient. We're right on top of the mall. So very easy to get to, very easy to buy food from. I miss the food. Okay, but it's a lot more convenient to do virtual because you're at home. You can pretty much be contacted anytime as convenient, and you're in a situation wherein, as mentioned, you don't need to travel, you don't need to get out of the house, you don't even need to step out of your room if you want to stay in your room. So that's one point. Time is also a pro for virtual interviews. You can be contacted anytime that you are available. Previously, if you are scheduled for an interview, you'd have to consider travel, right? How much time would it take for me to travel from point A to point B, from my house to the interview site in Glorieta? And how much time would it take for me to travel from the interview site going home? So time is a consideration, but in a virtual interview, time is a factor, but not really a problem in that if you know that you will be interviewed at a certain period, you don't really have to get out of the house and compute your commuting time anymore. And of course, another pro is the environment. If you're at home or if you're in a space wherein you're comfortable, you can pretty much literally kick your feet up as you do your interview, right? It's a space where you can freely move. It's a space where you can, move your hands if you want to move your hands or something. But of course, you try not to do that because you'd have to exert effort and it affects how you sound on the phone. But otherwise, environment wise, you're comfortable. you're happier, you're able to express yourself better. Those are the pros. Of course, there are cons to everything, right? There's no such thing as a perfect system. So let's talk about the cons. Number one, noise. If you check Facebook, those who are working from home, they are posting memes regarding noises that they encounter at home when they conduct their calls. So you have your chickens, your dogs, your babies, your sirens, your neighbors, and everything. So noise is a factor. And to buy noise reducing microphones is quite expensive. So definitely we try to make do with what we have. Second con is space. Although it's your space, it's your personal space, it's not just your space. It's also a space for your family, for your mom, for your dad, for your brother, for your sister, for your kid, for your dog, for your cat, for your snake, or whoever you have at home, whatever you have for at home, right? It's a shared space ultimately, unless you're lucky enough to live by yourself, but it's still as a shared space. And sometimes, if we're in a shared space, we don't really have the confidence to express ourselves, especially if we have to express ourselves in English, right? We would have relatives, or sometimes if you have a sibling who chides at you and would say, ay, nag-English si ate, oh," right? So it makes it difficult to express ourselves in a virtual interview. But, you make do with what you have. And of course, the overall experience. I put this as a con because sometimes, because we are in a virtual scenario, some candidates may not take interviews seriously. So they may feel like, this is just via phone, or you don't know what I'm doing anyway. I could be picking my nose while we're talking, and it doesn't really add to the formality of the experience. But in that case, it's really up to the candidate to be able to put himself or herself in a situation wherein they can take advantage of being interviewed at the moment. So, things to think about, pros and cons of the virtual interview. Let's talk about requirements. What are the requirements for virtual interviews? Normally, when you go through an interview, a face to face interview, there are certain requirements that you have to follow, right? Dress codes, timeliness, what to bring, and all that. It's pretty much the same in a virtual interview, plus a little bit more. So let's take a look at some requirements. So, first and foremost, for a virtual interview, you need to make sure that your devices are charged. And I use the term devices with an S because you never know when one device might work and the other won't. Specific to phone interviews, we've experienced this. Sometimes the area is more agreeable with a certain network, the green one, or agreeable with a certain network, the blue one. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So you have to be at the very least prepared to have options for your interviewer. And as an interviewer, we are also prepared with options. For ADP, talent acquisition interviewers are given two phones or a dual SIM phone that allows for both the green network and the blue network. So at least we can manage to call the candidate whatever network they do have or use. Second requirement for a virtual interview, a quiet space, definitely. I wouldn't really, well, I placed it there as a requirement, but if it's not something that you can afford, it's at the very least make the effort to ensure that you are in a space that allows for some solitude for the moment. For some households, the only space that you can be alone is the bathroom. That's not really the best place for a phone interview because of the echo rather. But at the very least, like a corner space or a room or a table, anywhere where you can be interviewed and you can speak without being bothered by anyone, at least for half an hour, which is usually the length of the virtual interviews for most companies at the moment. Another requirement is to have a very audible voice. When it comes to using the phone, whispering is not the best way to get your point across. Yes, as mentioned earlier, it's difficult to speak in English in a household wherein it might not be the first language that you use in conversations with your siblings or relatives, but you need to be able to express yourself clearly and fully, because if not, then the interviewer will not be able to hear you. Many times over, I've had personal experience wherein I would tell the candidate that, ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Ma'am, can you speak louder? Ma'am, can you move to a space with better signal? Because in instances like that, if I can't hear you, then definitely I can't interview you. I can't gather the answers that I need. I won't be able to properly place you to an availability in the company. um, Comfortable environment, like what I mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable, then you won't be able to speak well. You won't be able to answer questions. You won't be able to pay attention. So if it requires you to put your feet up literally, then go ahead. If it's on the phone, it won't be noticeable anyway. If you feel the need to sit a certain way, please do. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. However, I would highly advise against taking a phone call while lying down because it affects your breathing. So, really, seated, straight body, still the best way to be able to throw your voice out and to be able to have yourself heard by the person, especially if it's on the phone. And last one, for interviews rather, that require video, please dress accordingly. In our experience for ADP Philippines, we have not required video for our virtual interviews during quarantine yet, but in the previous lifetime, pre-quarantine, virtual video interviews have been done with hiring managers for with hiring managers who are in other geographies. So in cases like that, definitely you need to dress accordingly. You, there are certain companies that require business casual, business attire, casual attire. Ask your interviewer what would be the preferred for the company and the preferred by the interviewer. But primarily, I would say business casual is always the best to go, or at the very least, clean casual. Right? Expectations, requirements for virtual interviews, expectations rather, for virtual interviews. First things first, treat it like a face-to-face interview. um, it is a job application after all, it is an interview after all. So if you treat it the way you would treat a normal interview, then it wouldn't be any different, right? If you think of yourself as still talking to the interviewer and still being face to face with an interviewer, then there wouldn't be any difference, as they say, except for the fact that you're at home, surrounded by things that you are more familiar with. um, be prepared, study and research. A lot of times I encounter candidates who would say, because one of the first questions that I ask candidates is that, what do you know about the company? In this case, what do you know about ADP? Candidates are not necessarily required to give me the whole biography of the company. I I already know it, so you don't need to give it to me a millionth time, as they say. But at the very least, be able to give me an idea of what you know about the company. Many times, candidates have mentioned to me, "I Miss Potch, sorry, I didn't get to look at the company profile," or "I Miss Potch, sorry, I didn't get to check your business." So it would make the potential employer, feel that if you're not willing to look at my company profile, why would I be interested in looking at your profile, right? Again, you're not required to give me the breadth and depth of the company background, but at the very least, tell me what you know. Tell me what your friends have told you. Tell me what you saw on Facebook, what you saw on the Jobs 180 profile, what your former bosses have told you when you mentioned that you'll be applying to ADP. So at the very least, tell me what you know so that I can either add to it or correct it. Important, be confident. right? Um, if you're not confident, then where would we both end up? Of course, it's easier said than done, right? But it really is up to the candidate to be able to find the best way to manage the interview in their most comfortable way possible. Because in a virtual interview, we don't see each other normally if it's not a video call. We don't see each other, so it's easier for you to be able to take care of your comfort, and thereafter be confident in being able to manage the interview. So there. So I think pretty much that's it. That's all that I have to discuss with regard to virtual interviews. Posted there is the resume link for ADP under Jobs 180. Currently for ADP Philippines, we are still processing candidates up to the first level virtual interviews for operations analyst roles. And for niche roles, which is what I am handling, we do have specific openings that are available as well. So if you do browse the job portal, then you'll be able to discover what is available for you and what would best fit your profile with the company ADP or with other companies that are also available online. Right. So I guess that's it. Robert?
Thank you, Miss Potch. I'm sure that some of our viewers might think that this can be overwhelming, but hopefully, from hearing your talk after you show them how to prepare correctly, they'd be able to be more prepared when it comes to their virtual interviews. So, para dun sa mga viewers natin na gusto balikan yung mga tips and kung paano mag-prepare, once again, we are posting this recorded video so you could
Oh,
see
there
Miss
you are.
Potch again from ADP Philippines. So, Miss Potch, hello, Miss Potch.
Yes, I'm
Hello.
here. I couldn't see you
Ah, you're there.
earlier. So yeah.
Okay. So, we can now proceed with our Q&A portion.
Alrighty.
Okay. So, I have a question here. It says that what are the common mistakes of applicants going through their virtual interview? Common mistakes.
Common mistakes. I would say, well, in an interview, and especially if you're being interviewed for a BPO, one of the requirements would be to speak in English at all times. So, common mistakes would be your Filipino slips here and there or your Filipino interjections. I guess it also connects to being comfortable. If you are too comfortable, then you end up acting as if you're not in a virtual interview. So sometimes they would be like, oh, yung parang ganun. And as an interviewer, you'd be surprised, like, wait long, right? So you have to be able to balance being, or at least the formality of it, and the comfort level that you get when you are at home. I'd say that would be the best answer that I can think of right now.
Okay. So, I was formerly an HR specialist, so I know how it
Yep.
feels to see an applicant getting too comfortable, parang masyadong aloof, parang
Mm,
lumalabas na hindi ganun ka-interested. So, I'm guessing baka yung iba dahil virtual interview and not speaking in
face
front
to
of
face,
the
yeah.
HR, baka mas lalo silang maging too comfortable, especially yung mga na-mention nyo earlier, ma'am, na
Mm-hmm.
yung not setting up correctly, parang nakahiga pa nga yung iba. So,
True.
to
Mm-hmm.
our viewers, wag kayong masyadong comfortable. Treat it as if you are still face-to-face with your HR interviewer. So, Ms.
Balance
Posh,
lang,
we have
right?
Yes, get the right balance. Okay. We have another question here. This is more about
Sorry.
they're asking about positions in ADP Philippines outside NCR. They have open positions.
Unfortunately, the only site of ADP is in Makati, so within NCR.
So within NCR, it is in Makati. And do you
Yes.
how many positions they have open? A rough estimate, I guess, for
I
our
well,
viewers.
To be honest, I can't give a rough estimate right now. We are still processing for operations analysts, and we do have a handful of niche positions or specialty positions. The reason why I can't give an exact number is because in a field like the BPO or specific to ADP, KPO needs change. So sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. And with the current situation, we're in practically everything is on hold in the Philippines. We don't just want to give out numbers or details like that unless we can really be sure of it. But do feel free to send in your applications. Again, we are continuously processing candidates for both operations analyst roles and niche positions.
Okay, so when it comes to applying, again, I would like to ask our viewers to go to jobs180.com to apply. You could go directly to the page of ADP Philippines. You could see their openings there, and you could see more about the company through jobs180.com/ADP. Again, jobs180.com/ADP. So you could see more about ADP Philippines. And furthermore, you could also go to your own school platform, schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF. Here you will see your school industry partners, including ADP, among others. So you could go through that or directly to the site. So you'd end up going to ADP Philippines Jobs 180 page. Okay, so Miss Posh, I think I have asked all the questions that was commented to me. So with that, I want to thank you very much for joining us here today. I am sure that our viewers are very appreciative of having someone, a guest speaker, to share their area of expertise. So thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Bye.
Thank you. Hope to have you again. Okay, so thank you again. We can now move on to our last topic. So to introduce our speaker is from Accenture. She is the recruitment manager for Accenture. So joining Accenture in 2018, she leads the campus sourcing team that takes care of partnering with esteemed universities to bring in premium talents to the organization. She is also a licensed secondary educator, now a homeschooling mom to a kinder. She is an introvert that's never felt comfortable delivering talks like what she'll deliver today. We would like to now invite our third speaker, Miss Zyra Mona Toledo, to join us. Hello, ma'am. Good morning. Can
Hello,
you
good
hear? us?
morning.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
can you hear me well? Good
Yes,
morning.
you are very much clear. So
Perfect.
maybe maybe we could test your screen. If you could share your
All right.
screen right now.
Yeah, I'm actually flashing my screen now. All right. Okay.
Okay, so
So good
I think
morning everyone. Thank you very much Robert for that.
we are good to
Um
go. I'll be going backstage
all
and
right.
coming back for our Q&A. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good morning everybody from students of Enverga. Um I am asked to deliver a topic for you today, which is actually the realities of remote working. Um, and with that, before I actually start, let me just provide some information, though Robert already mentioned some earlier. I am I actually I am the recruiting manager for Accenture. I used to be a student leader in college, and I think that's the reason why working with the university, partnering with academe, and interacting with students are really close to my heart. I've been a seasoned recruiter. I have worked with conservative industries and have always been in recruiting. And I think we came on a full life cycle here as well. My team is part of the sourcing, recruitment sourcing of Accenture. I have about 20 team members with me. And as mentioned earlier, we partner with different institutions. We identify schools to partner with, and we identify hires for entry level positions within the organization. I am an introvert, so delivering this talk where I can just interact and just talk to my laptop is actually something I welcome versus the normal way of doing things and speaking in public and seeing all those faces. So this is actually a middle ground for me. But I've always loved the fact imparting information to different people. And lastly, I'm a mom of two lovely daughters. Um, and that makes working remotely at this particular time gives me comfort, right? I've asked to do a topic about working from home or remote working. Normally in the industry, we call that, WFH, which is working from home. But I'm looking at the Facebook feed, and I'd like to know, you can start commenting there, because I want to know, what do you know about working from home? Or, do you have any background? How does that work? Or do you have any impression of how does that work for most, at least for those who experience it? Okay, so you can just start commenting. I'll just pick it up as I go through along. In general, working from home is a modern way to connect, collaborate, and also to create. So there are different areas of working from home. Number one is that it is technology enabled, and it allows an individual, an employee, to actually do work. That's the last part, regardless of the physical locations that person is. Okay. And the key word there is making sure that that individual can have the work done. What is it like working from home? You'd probably wonder. It has its wins and, no, pros and cons, no. So and I'm going to share some information about that. Number one, let's start with the wins, no. So what is working from home like? What are the benefits of working from home? Number one, it offers flexibility of the job opportunities. Obviously, working from home, working at the comforts of your home allows other people to be part of the workforce, even if perhaps they have to juggle different activities. Example, in my case, because we're stuck here at home, I was able to homeschool my daughter. Some people who are disabled or differently abled at some point can actually work from home easier than trying to navigate around the community, and going from, house to an employer. Okay. And 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 it actually provides that kind of flexibility. So number two is the flexibility of time. So obviously, working from home allows a particular individual to make most of the time that he or she has. It's important that, because you don't have to wake up extremely early, because you don't need to commute. That's another. And all the more, going at home, even if you're dead tired, diba? You're pagod na pagod ka na, you have to, example, you're going home to Cavite, diba? You have to, the traffic, you have to course through in 2 hours or so. So, by working from home provides you with that kind of flexibility. Um, so you can do more, diba? You can actually do more. Next would be provide savings. Maliban dun sa you're saving time, you're also saving money, because you don't have to spend gas money, you don't have to spend for transportation. At some point, nakikikain ka naman kasi sa bahay, so your budget, you're saving some. Okay. And for some organization, they also provide allowances for, say, communications allowance, or pitch in your internet connectivity. So you save some money from that kasi normally you pay naman diretso from your payroll, 'di ba? Kasi you have to equip yourself with connectivity. But if that organization you're in, you are able to, um you won't have to shell out that particular cost just so you can pay your internet connection. Okay, so that's for savings. And I've mentioned earlier about the improved productivity because you can do more. Okay, you can actually do more. And a lot of employees actually feel that they kind of get the good work life balance and it improves their flexibility. And many people claim actually that working at home or in your zen, you're at in your own space, um provides you an opportunity to concentrate better, diba? And you can complete more tasks quickly because of that. uh and there's a particular study conducted recently that working from home actually made a big difference in the overall quality of life of the employee. Telecommuters, that's usually how they call it, no? The people that are working from home. Um, nagfo-fall yung stress level nila by 25%. Because they eat better, 'di ba? They eat better kasi sa office, although 'di ba, most naman or a lot would still be able to work within the required hours or yung sa tamang oras. But at home, syempre, since you normally be eating or doing things within the household as well, mas madali ka na mahatak para kumain ng lunch. You know that if it's lunchtime, you really have to eat because you have family members to eat with. Okay, and there's a lot of opportunities that you can do by working by yourself and quietly. What about the downside of working from home? Obviously, we are in the Philippines, and tech infrastructure enablement is kind of be the downside here. Obviously, when you work in an office, your internet connection is nothing of your concern, 'di ba? Hindi natin 'yan problema. Kung magkaroon man tayo ng downtime because of our connection, bihirang-bihira. But it's quite common, 'di ba? If you're working from home, you're in a beck and call of your internet service provider. At this point, my teammate can agree to this. Sa akin, if it starts raining, my connection is doomed. If it starts raining, my connectivity is doomed. So more often than not, if I have to do presentations or have to have a meeting that requires connectivity, what I usually do is I send my deck in advance and I try to dial in from my mobile phone just to make sure that I don't get disrupted by my network connectivity issues. Obviously, another within the enablement space, the ask of, are you going to use your own device? Because not every organization or every company would actually issue you one, 'di ba? Especially for working from home. There are roles that already requires that you have that connectivity, you have this, high speed internet connection, you already have your laptop to a particular um, component. But it's usually upon you. But there's organizations that would actually give this to you and issue you some. Okay. Next, data security. It depends on, I think, the organization that you're part of. But working for Accenture, data security is very, very important to us. Working from home provides us that relaxed environment, and sometimes with that kind of environment, we're being too complacent. Some information can get scattered around our workplace, or if we're sharing workplace with somebody else, um it gets scattered all over. So it's very important to make sure that whatever file or the information that we are processing are secured. And that goes the same with the information that are processing online in our laptops. Are our screens locked? Are the information that we, pretty much to that effect, are they working? Are we being protected? Are they secure? Okay, so that's very, very important. The third is, with contrary to having that flexible time, it also provides another set of constraint, which is juggling work and home life. Example, what I usually tell my team in the past, if I leave the house at 7 o'clock and I have to be in the office at 8 o'clock, normally as soon as I leave the house, as soon as I close the door, my mindset is I'm like 95% an employee, right? And if I receive any email or text message from the household, hindi naman siya, it's not too often. Unlike now, parang the expectation working from home is you're 100% employee because technically you are in your workplace, but you're also 100% homebody because you're still at home. Okay, so it doesn't stop. So, if you're a nanay, most likely you guys, your kids, no? So, um, chances are if you'll be working from home, makakalabit ka pa ng mom mo and ask you to buy something from the store or to ask you to run for an errand. And juggling work and home life can be very, very difficult. Even for the people that have been working from home for a long time. Especially during this quarantine season, community quarantine, wherein there are particular schedules lang tayo wherein, somebody has to go out and the people that are allowed to go out are limited as well. So example, in Manila, isa lang in the household, right? So if ikaw yung ally, ikaw yung errand girl or boy, it's kind of difficult. Do you need to go to the bank? Do you need to do the grocery within your office hours? Making sure na pagbalik mo, you can still accomplish so much more because that's what's required of you to do. So juggling work and home life can, somehow take a toll. And lastly is staying motivated. So it's actually very difficult to stay motivated because it's not as if that you have, your rest of the team physically there, 'di ba? Chit-chatting with you, and you really have to have that very good sense of discipline in making sure that you power on and accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. So there's no active supervision, obviously. There's no active supervision. Your colleagues are not working around you. So it's really up to you to make sure that you meet your targets. In fact, it has always been a biggest challenge associated with remote work. Um, Kasi a lot of telecommuters or remote workers tend to be very relaxed, very complacent, and has this habit of procrastinating. Sige, bukas na lang yan. I think I can do that some other time and not doing it now. So, and it gets piled up. So that is a downside of working from home. Now you'd probably think, okay, sige, that being considered, how can working from home work for you? Okay, so I actually have a couple of tips for you. Number one is you set a routine. Okay, you set a routine to start your day. My take is that treat it as if you're still working from home. I know, treat it as if you're working to the office or still going to the office. So get dressed for work, diba? As much as possible, I try to, I try not to, kung ano na yung pinantulog mo, di ba? Just so you can trigger that component in your brain that says, okay, it's work mode now. Okay? So, maligo na tayo, di ba? Although wala naman nakakaamoy sa atin when we're working from home, maligo na tayo. So, to keep us energized as well, get dressed for work. I think it's very important. And you start coursing through what do I need to accomplish today. So, you organize what you need to do. So you don't fell in between. So even if at some point you have to step out to do something else, pwede ka pa rin na, okay, where am I at? 'Di ba? Helps you to get wheeled back in. Now, next is ensure you have a dedicated workspace. So, this is very ideal, 'di ba? Kung meron kang area talaga where you can say it, that's your office, that's your workplace. May it be sharing it with somebody. Actually, I'm just using I'm sharing a workstation with my daughter. So I have a kinder with me. So in the afternoon, this area with me gets converted to a classroom. So in the morning we share. So she does her stuff at the background. But what actually helps me is that, I have an earphone that's noise canceling. I can put up a green screen or whatnot. So the clutter and, the people that I deal with in a day in, day out doesn't get distracted with what's going on in the background. And hopefully I don't get distracted myself. So that's very, very important. Okay. And at least 'di ba? So if 'di ba, pagising mo, you parang you step into a role and it triggers you. So it's very important that once you sit in your work area, at least it give you that kind of focus as well. So as much as possible, avoid yung noise natin in the background. If there's an opportunity for you to shut the door, you can do that as well. So it gives you a, focus. Okay. Next would be take breaks. Go for a walk and you know get up from your desk regularly. I suggest that you prioritize self-care. Okay? Because you need to, you know you can get swayed by lost in time working by yourself quietly focus, that's fine, but you have to also think na, you have to prompt yourself, 'di ba? Keep the blood running in your veins by just taking a breather so you do not get burned out. Okay? And number 4 is you unplug and a switch. Working from home entails discipline. I think I've mentioned this earlier. And as we navigate the fluidity day in, day out, setting boundaries is very important. That's so we can feel recharged and ready to be connected on the next day. So this is something that I'm also trying to do myself. At There are times wherein I miss to do it, but unplugging kasi parang if you work from 9 to 6 and then hanggang gabi na, 'di ba? Because you're connected, you may be connected in your mobile phones, you may be connected in your laptop. It's so easy to say and respond to same mails, okay? And I think um it's important that you delineate kung ano yung work self mo from your normal self. That's so if done na yung working hours, though you want it to be blended as much as possible, your personal life doesn't get compromised by your work life. Okay? And lastly, I suggest that you hold like a virtual water cooler chat. So water cooler is like ito yung chikahan portion mo. So if you have group chat with your teammates, 'di ba? So this is a time wherein or this is a group chat wherein you just talk nonsense. Parang it mimics your normal environment. Like 'di ba, if you're working within the team, you sit together, meron naman talaga kayong mga side conversations, side chats. I suggest that you still hold that virtually. 'Di ba? You have a group chat and say, oh, or, 'di ba? No nonsense, 'di ba? Yung it doesn't really need to involve work. You ask kung ano bang mga recommended nila na K-drama because patatapos na kayo dun sa pinapanood nyo. I don't know, or if you want to take it a notch higher, you can share to them what your experience today, ask for an advice if you're that kind of group of friends, diba? So it's important that meron ka lang ding kabatuhan because normally if you're working from home, if you're not in the meetings, most likely wala ka talagang kausap. So my suggestion is you have that chit chat group and socialize through your group chat. Okay, and doesn't necessarily need to be work related. Now, I generally that's all the topic I have. But before I actually step out, I'm going to talk about what Accenture is in the Philippines very very briefly, because this opportunity has been very evident for us, working for Accenture at this point. So Accenture has been doing business in the Philippines for more than 30 years, and we are actually one of the largest and most diversified IT and business process companies to date locally. We actually have about 20, more than 20 facilities that spread out in Manila, Cebu, and Ilocos. And also, we are recognized global and locally. So these are just some of the achievements, the recognitions that we have acquired over the recent years. Okay, I'm not going to harp on that too much. Now, what do we do in Accenture? Today, Accenture in the Philippines, we lead the way through our advanced technology centers and intelligent operations centers, where we actually offer our clients integrated services and solutions to create, deliver, and industrialize and scale innovation. So, if you're going to talk to anybody within Accenture, those are our buzzwords. So, innovation is actually ingrained in our DNA, and we live through that day in, day out. Within our advanced technology services, the technologies that you normally hear from SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, Salesforce, Workday, and so on and so forth, we even offer services that provides complete life cycle of technology, such that of customizing application engineering and architecture, enterprise IT transformation, AI and automation, data engineering, testing automation, and just so a few, and cloud and infrastructure services. And we commit into modernizing, okay, our infrastructure. Okay, within our intelligent operations center, so this is our business process services. We have in finance and accounting, wherein Accenture is reinventing finance operations that integrates robotic process automation and analytics and artificial intelligence within the finance function. So this actually helps our clients to improve business performance. We also have talent in HR, where we actually help HR leaders achieve business outcomes through tailored solutions that focus on talent acquisition, talent development, and employee and HR services. We also have a pillar for procurement, where we partner with clients to design intelligent sourcing and procurement solutions that address today's objectives and enable flexibility to accommodate future changes. And lastly, we also have marketing, where Accenture help create a marketing growth engine for our clients through the seamless integration of capabilities delivered as managed services. We even provide end-to-end capabilities to help our clients define the user experience and design and optimize the channel mix and run the campaigns as a service. We also have our health component, or where we offer health services, where we help payers, providers, and government agencies drive breakthrough growth, increase customer engagement, improve health outcomes, and reduce cost. We also have our network services, where we help communication service providers conquer challenges with services that span across three critical domains. So that's network engineering and optimization, service fulfillment, and service assurance. And lastly, we also have our utilities. Accenture Intelligent Utility Operations has the expertise to help boost customer satisfaction, double growth rates, and reduce cost. So that's actually how it looks like with the different businesses that we run within Accenture. And so this is a snapshot of what I just mentioned earlier, and some of the what other component that we are very proud of is our truly human practice and how diversified we are. So Accenture in the Philippines is actually the first Accenture geographic unit to achieve level 2 edge move certification that actually qualifies, no, assesses, evaluates organizational progress on gender equality. So to date, 52% of Accenture's executives and 49, almost 50% of our non-executives are female. Okay. Um, and I mentioned about the truly human practice. Honestly speaking, within the sector that we're in, IT BPM, attrition rate runs between 20 to 50%, and Accenture takes pride in having less than 15% attrition rate. Um, and at some point, it's really below 10% as we work hard towards ensuring that we cultivate an inclusive and diverse workplace that keeps our people engaged. Okay, so within the organization, we have volunteer activities within the corporate citizenship pillar. We have 13,000 LGBT allies. And we also take pride in ensuring employment or providing employment to more than 2,000 PWDs. Okay, now, so just so I can further relate our topic back to this, how do we work from home in Accenture? Number one is that we work securely. Number two is we maximize the use of the tools to connect, collaborate, and create through our laptop, desktop, and mobile phones. And we also participate in virtual events. We have town halls, competitions, trainings, you name it. We can take advantage of that. And we also take advantage of our learning through our virtual learning platforms. So at this day and age, it's very important that we continue to upskill ourselves and make sure that our skill sets are relevant. Okay, and as we continue to do that, Accenture employees actually have this platform where we can identify how we can improve ourselves better and learn new skills. Okay, and lastly, we live by our truly human practices. So, truly human is making sure that we bring our best self to work, um, between the body, mind, and soul. So, we have different programs within that. So, it's very important that, we do self care and all that. So, we continue to be at our best self every day, even if we're not physically going to work in the office. So, for you guys that are still contemplating on opportunities to go into, we actually have a number of opportunities within our systems management and operations. We have project management office. We have opportunities for multilinguals. We also have roles within the customer service, our requirement, and we usually call them the system mechanic, but these are your integrated workstation engineer, your service desk. So we also have that. Next would be we have opportunities for those interested in data analytics and automation. We have roles for IT operations associate, also known as your tech medic, data analysts or data experts. We also have opportunities for software testers or software scientists and general accounting. So these are those that are crunching numbers and are numbers analysts. And the last pillar is actually, sorry, is actually our consulting and solutions development, where we have opportunities for application support analysts, developers, and business architect integration analysts. So primarily within SAP space. And that's all for me at this point. And I thank you for um, you know, allowing Accenture to be part of this.
So thank you, Miss Zyra. Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me clearly? Sorry, I think there's a problem with your connection. Again, hello, ma'am. Can you hear me clearly? There
Hello,
you go.
yes.
Well, we
Hello.
hello, yes. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to impart information to our viewers. I took a note that you mentioned that earlier that that's important to you. So again, thank you for taking the time. And we already have viewers interested in becoming part of Accenture. So maybe we could go on to the question and answer portion since the first question is if you have openings outside NCR, specifically around Lucena, or do you have work from home openings for our viewers?
Okay, so majority actually of the roles that we have now. So we're not very excited to return back to the office. So there's small percentage that are just required to work on site. Generally speaking, the answer is the available opportunities are within Metro Manila, Cebu and Ilocos sites. But in terms of where we're working today, so that's actually is different. So a lot of the jobs now are done remotely within Accenture.
Okay, so I think our viewers would be pleased to know that you are accommodating them in a work from home setting. They are interested as well to know if they need to have their own PC or other materials, hardware, and such, or will Accenture provide
Okay,
these?
we will provide you with this enablements.
Okay, that's good to know as well. And in connection, actually, this is still connected. The next question is how do you keep your employees motivated in the work from home setting? So, motivation for the employees.
I've mentioned earlier that we actually have this truly human practice, and I apologize, I wasn't able to actually elaborate it further for the, I'm just quite conscious of the time. But within that space, so there are a number of engagement programs going around where employees are actually invited. I've mentioned there are virtual town halls, there are virtual competitions, there are virtual training, self-care programs from, the simplest prompt that prompt employees take a breather and whatnot, no, so that's sent across that so the employee can be reminded, okay, sige, let me just try and walk around. The leaders within each teams are devising their very own engagement programs. There are a lot of teams doing competitions. Merong within my team, I think that was last month we did online bingo. So it depends, no. So but these things are encouraged, highly encouraged within the organization, and every leader within our organization takes up to this challenge.
Okay, so thank you very much. I hope our viewers can see how companies like Accenture would still do go beyond the effort to show that they care for their employees. So unfortunately, ma'am, this would end our question and answer program. We would need to proceed. But for our viewers, you may visit their Jobs 180 page. That's jobs180.com/Accenture. And once again, you may view your school's industry partners, including Accenture and schools.jobs180.com/MSEUF. So you will see ADP and Accenture there together with your school partners. So thank you, Ms. Zyra. Hope this won't be the last time that you will share your knowledge to our viewers. So thank you very much.
Thanks
We
as
hope to
well
see you
for the
soon.
invitation.
Of course.
Yes, thank
Anytime.
you.
Thank you. So this ends our talks for today. Reminder lang na if may na-miss kayong part or kung may gusto kayong balikan, you could go to facebook.com slash jobs 180, sorry, para makita nyo ang aming recorded video. And if you want to join us in our future webinars, we will have one on Thursday, August 20 Thursday, and we actually have senior executives there to talk about their experiences when they were fresh grads. So to formally end our program, we will have closing remarks followed by the MSEUF hymn. So I would like to invite your director for the Office of Scholarships, Job Placement and Alumni Relations, Miss Maria Isabel Granada.
Yes, thank you, Robert.
Thank you,
Happy
ma'am.
day with you. Thank you. It has been a full day. Napakabusog na araw o umagang ito. And thank you, Jobs 180. Thank you din kay Ms. Potch ng ADP at Ms. Zyra ng Accenture. I would like to address din sa aming mga graduating students na we are really confident that they have been equipped to become professional with leadership and managerial skills. And of course, we gave them enough experience to be more flexible and adaptable, lalo na ngayon sa sinasabi natin, trying but very interesting time. So, thank you again. We will continue to be committed in guiding you, our graduating students, as well as our alumni, to the future that you deserve. So, magandang umaga po at maraming salamat. Thank you. And here's our certificate for our
Hello,
thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you. You were earlier showing the certificates. Maybe you could show them again now. We will
Okay.
flash it. Maybe you could read it for our speakers.
So this is our certificate of appreciation for Jobs 180 DACO for your invaluable support to our alumni and graduating students as we conduct this Career 101 webinar with the theme Telecommuting and Remote Work Expectations and Realities. This certificate was signed by our Vice President for External Relations and of course our University President, Ma'am Naila Leberiza. Again, thank you very much, Jobs 180.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for presenting us with this certificate. We
Yes.
appreciate you making the effort for this. With that said, I would like to thank everyone again for joining us today. Thank you to our partners from the school, officers from the Office of the Vice President for External Relations, Office of Scholarships, Job Placement and Alumni Relations, and Office of Student Affairs and Services. Thank you again to our speakers earlier from ADP and Accenture. We hope to be able to coordinate with you again. And last announcement, August 20, we will have another session. Hope to see you there again. Thank you. So this closes our program. Once again, I am Robert from Jobs 180. Stay safe, everyone.